Purport by Srila Prabhupada. Every living being lives for 100 years in terms of the times in different planets for different entities. These 100 years of life are not equal in every case. The longest duration of 100 years belongs to Brahma. But although the life of Brahma is very long, it expires in the course of time. Brahma is also afraid of his death, and thus he performs devotional service to the Lord just to release himself from the clutches of illusory energy. Animals, of course, have no sense of responsibility, but even humans who have developed a sense of responsibility while away their valuable time without engaging in devotional service to the Lord. They live merrily, unafraid of impending death. This is the madness of human society. The madman has no responsibility in life. Similarly, a human being who does not develop a sense of responsibility before he dies is no better than the madman who tries to enjoy material life very happily without concern for the future. It is necessary that every human being be responsible in preparing himself for the next life, even if he has a duration of life like that of Brahma, the greatest of all living creatures within the universe. Thus ends the Bhaktivedanta purport. We have discussed this earlier, that Devatas are called Amara. Amara means one who never dies. But the fact is, Devatas also have death, like humans, like other animals, creatures. So why are they called Amara? Long duration of life, that's the reason. They have very long duration of life. Their duration of life as compared to the humans on the earth is so long that they think they're never going to die. Or they forget about death almost completely. If they forget about death, what to speak of Brahma? Brahma's duration of life is very, very, very long, even if we compare his duration of life with that of the demigods. Brahma's one day is 14 manvantaras. Each manvantara lasts for 71 Mahayugas. So all the calculations are given to help us understand that whatever be the relative duration, there is a calculation called Paramayur Vayashatam. The maximum duration for everyone is only 100 years, according to the calculation of time on their planet and for their species. Just like on the earth, humans live 100 years, according to the calculation we have here of time, but dogs only live 15 years or 20 years. But the feeling or the idea of time for a dog, it thinks it is living its 100 years. Everybody thinks I am living 100 years. Paramayu Vayashatam. And this 100 years duration means the duration of life is getting exhausted. It is decreasing. Continuously, the duration of life is decreasing. There is no stopping this decrease in the duration. You cannot stop. Just like in English they say, you cannot stop the clock. Sometimes when we are in a hurry to finish something by a certain deadline, we're working very hard and we're seeing that time is ticking. Time is passing. And the deadline comes closer, we become more and more anxious. How will I complete? And then sometimes we wish we could stop the clock. But that can never be done. Time and tide wait for no man. This is one English saying. Time will pass. Time will tick away. So this exhaustion or decrease in the duration of life is the important aspect of time which is to be considered by every human being. What should the human being consider? That even if someone has the duration of life equal to that of Brahma, that is the maximum duration. Nobody can have longer than Brahma's life, in the material world at least. In the spiritual world, everyone is living eternal life. And in the material world, everyone has to die. So that duration before death comes is calculated as 100 years, but Brahma has got, relatively speaking, the greatest of living creatures, his duration of life is the maximum. Even if one has got the duration of life of Brahma, still a responsible person should consider about next life. What about next life? So Prabhupada says in the purport here, Brahma is also afraid of death. Brahma is also afraid of his death. And thus he performs devotional service to the Lord just to release himself from the clutches of illusory energy. Material existence means we are under the clutches of Maya. Maya forces us to engage in material activity. Though we are meant to engage in devotional service, Maya tricks us into thinking that, oh, I can enjoy life. I can be happy independent of Krishna. But that happiness is simply illusion. So for that illusory happiness, so many foolish people are engaged in so many varieties of activities dictated by Maya. It is completely dictated by Maya. That's why we say we are under the clutches of Maya. But the illusion is, I think I am independent. I am free to enjoy the way I like to enjoy. I am free to do what I want. This sense of freedom, this sense of choice for happiness, choosing the way you want to make yourself happy, this is a grand illusion, powerful illusion. There are descriptions in the Bhagavatam. The sons of Kuvera, Kuvara and Manigriva, Being born of very rich father, Kubera's sons. Kubera's sons means sons of the treasurer of the demigods. Very, very, very rich. Even among the demigods, Kubera is very rich. So, Kubera's sons, they had become very, very irresponsible. Always in the mood of, let's enjoy, let's enjoy, let's enjoy. So much so that once when they were enjoying, they were sporting, and they were sporting naked. So when Narada Muni happened to pass by that way, except for these two, Nalakubara and Manigriva, everyone else became alerted. And to show respect to Narada Muni, they began to cover themselves. But these two Devatas, they didn't care for Narada Muni's passing by that way. They didn't care. They didn't attempt to cover themselves. So Narada Muni, of course, Narada Muni is above honor and insult, as described in the Bhagavad Gita. Sukha dukhe same kritva labha jaya jayo. No, not that one. Which is that verse, tatha manapamanayo. Not caring for honor or dishonor, honor or insult, being equipoised in honor and insult. Where is it? 12th chapter. What is that verse? Adveshta sarvabhutanam maitrak karuna evacha. No, that's not the verse. It's a series of verses. But read the correct verse. Samashatrau cha mitrecha tatha manapamanayoho. That's a verse. What is the verse? 14th verse. 18 and 19. Is it 18 or 19? 18th verse. 18th verse. So 12th chapter, 18th verse, Krishna says about his devotees. They are unaffected by honor or insult. So it's not that Narada Muni wanted some respect. No, he took compassion on this degraded condition of these devatas. And out of his compassion, he decided to curse them. This is very unusual, that out of compassion, somebody is being cursed. How can you understand it is compassion? Because Narada Muni cursed them to become trees in the courtyard where Krishna was going to later on appear and perform his childhood pastimes. So that is Narada Muni's mercy. Narada Muni's mercy. So in the Bhagavatam, 10th canto, there is a very elaborate description of what is the responsibility when one gets human form of life. What is the responsibility? So that responsibility is, one should have a sense of a responsibility as to, I should prepare for my next life now. I should prepare for next life now. Now that I've got a human form of life, I should prepare for my next life. This is called Athato Brahma Jignasa. In the Vedanta Sutra, it is called Athato Brahma Jignasa. Athato means, now that you got a human form of life, inquire into what is Brahman. Inquire into what is spirit, or what is God, or what is spirituality. And this inquiry is described in the Bhagavatam as Jivasya Tattva Jignasa. Same thing. Bhagavatam is talking about every living entity. Every living entity. Only business is Tattva Jignasa, Brahma Jignasa, spiritual inquiry. But Prabhupada says here, animals of course have no sense of responsibility because they don't have developed intelligence. Animals don't have that sense of responsibility because they don't have developed intelligence. But human beings, they have developed intelligence. So human beings can think about this spiritual inquiry, can make spiritual inquiry, can think about spiritual subject matter. But unfortunately, in the modern civilization, people are wasting their valuable time without engaging in devotional service. This inquiry naturally leads to devotional service. If somebody makes an inquiry into what is Brahman, that leads to devotional service. But if people while away their time, waste their time, how do they waste their time? They live merrily. Khao piyo aish karo. In Hindi they say. Eat nicely and spend time with some games. And they are very serious about spending time with these games. IPL match. They are closely following every team, every match, every ball, every over. All wasting time. Big plan for wasting time. So many ways they are wasting time. Modern civilization especially, they waste time in so many ways. So many ways. So this wasting time without a sense of responsibility, or even if they have a sense of responsibility, they do not inquire about the most important aspect of their life. What about next life? What about next life? That inquiry is missing. They'll inquire about so many things, but they never inquire about what about my next life. So this sort of life Prabhupada describes as madness. Pramatta, madman. In what way is called a madman? A madman has no sense of responsibility in life. Mad person does not think about the future at all. Some crazy thing he'll be doing now without bothering about the future. Similarly, these so-called advanced people, materially advanced people in the modern civilization, they have no sense of responsibility in terms of preparing for the next life. They never make an inquiry. Or they develop a theory or philosophy, everything will be finished at the time of death. Everything will be finished at the time of death. Prabhupada points out many times, he met one Professor Kotowski. So when Prabhupada is explaining, you are spirit soul, you are not the body, and spirit soul does not die. Oh Swamiji, everything is finished at the time of death. So Prabhupada is telling, look at this person. He has studied so much Vedas. He's an Indology professor. Indology means one whose subject matter of interest, study, research is the Eastern philosophy, Indian philosophy, specifically Indian philosophy. So, such a professor who has studied so much, he says, Swamiji, there is no next life. And Prabhupada points out, in India, in our Vedic culture at least, Vedic civilization, even the most illiterate, uneducated, simple farmer also, in a remote place, far removed from so-called civilization, he also knows there is life after death. And we should live a life of responsibility. Everybody knows in the Vedic culture. Everyone knows. So, just like it is said, Brahma is also afraid of his death. In the Vedic civilization, everyone is afraid of his death. Because he knows at the time of death, he is going to pass on to another body. And that body will be dependent on what activities he has done in this life, present life. Next life depends on what we are doing now. So they have a sense of responsibility. That is lacking in the modern society. And therefore, it is necessary that every human being be responsible in preparing himself for the next life. And this applies even to Brahma, not just to human beings on earth. It applies to everybody, everybody. And one more important point is that the time passes away, even though somebody may think relatively I have a very long duration of life. I have many years to live. Just like young people. They think I am going to die many years later. So let me not bother about spiritual life or next life now. All that I will look into when I am retired. After retirement, we'll look into all that. So here it is said that one does not realize how time passes away. Time is very, very relative, the sense of time. If somebody is enjoying materially, 12 years may pass away like 12 minutes. 12 years may pass away like 12 minutes. It is described in the life of Ajamila. He became 88 years old when he had his 10th son. He was 88 years old. How time passed away, he did not realize at all. He did not realize. He's still busy with family life. That's why Prabhupada says many times, the scriptures say, Panchashordhvam vanam vrajet. Vrajet means must. You must go to the forest. You must retire from your family life when you're 50 years old. Compulsory. Because if somebody has not been responsible in his life before 50 years, then at least at the age of 50, become responsible in preparing for the next life. So this Ajamila, 88-year-old, still is busy enjoying family life. Why? Because time just passes away and he didn't realize. Suddenly death came. And then he was not prepared for death. Not at all. But by the grace of the Lord, somehow, he chanted the name of the Supreme Lord Narayana. But that's not possible for everyone. That's not possible for everyone. Some or the other chant the name of the Lord. It doesn't happen. Consciously trying to chant the name of the Lord, many times you'll not be chanting the name of the Lord, you'll be chanting something else. You'll be saying something else. Your attention will be somewhere else. And if you don't have the attention on what you're chanting, then you may be saying something else. Just like those who mechanically chant Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, they may not even properly pronounce the words. Or in between, when they get into some thought process, the chanting completely stops and the beats keep moving. Because it's all mechanical, no? Bead movement is one mechanical activity. Vibrating at Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare, another mechanical activity. And the mind or attention is busy with something else. Some other planning, some other thinking, some other thought process. So whether actually chanting is happening or not, whether counting is properly synchronized with the chanting or not, unless the attention is there, how can you be sure of that? I have actually seen this, that there was one devotee, there is a devotee, of course, he is there even now, he is not gone, dead and gone, he is still there. He would chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. So he is chanting very nicely, but you should be taking a lot of time for chanting at this speed. He says, no Prabhu, I finish off my 16 rounds within 2 hours. I said, not possible. If you are chanting at this speed, all your rounds, it is not possible to finish in 2 hours, 16 rounds. Then your counting is not okay. He's telling, no, I carefully am counting. I'm very carefully counting. I said, no, just check up. You're not carefully, properly counting. See whether for every bead you're holding, you're saying the full mantra, and then properly moving to the next bead and not simply keep moving the beads independent of your actual chanting. I said, okay. Once we were traveling, both of us, from the temple, we were going on some one-day outing. He was sitting next to me. So he was holding his beads within the bag, and somehow the bag fell off, and the bead in his hand. So then I noticed that he's telling Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. He has finished half the mantra. He is moving to the next bead and telling Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Then he is moving to the next bead and telling Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Then moving to the next bead telling Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So I noticed his chanting is very nicely being done in one sense. That his pronunciation and saying the words properly in the correct sequence, it's happening. But this moving the beads is not synchronized with the full mantra. It is synchronized with half mantra. And he's been doing like this for many years. So when I pointed this out, he was shocked, completely shocked. I didn't realize this, Prabhu. I said, when you told me that you are finishing within 2 hours at this speed of, pronouncing the names or uttering the names, obviously you should take more than 2 hours. So how is it you are finishing in 2 hours? Because what should take maybe 4 hours is getting over in 2 hours, because he's chanting, actually counting only half the number of rounds. Thinking is actually, he's chanting half the number of rounds and counting full rounds. So like this, we have to be very, very alert. We have to be very, very alert. The same alertness is actually required in preparation for the next life before death comes. Either we forget about death, or we think we have a lot of time before death comes. One of these two feelings are there generally in people. Or we think, oh, what I am doing is enough for me. My next life is guaranteed good birth because I am engaged in devotional service. But this engaging in devotional service should result in our becoming very alert about what activities we do 24 hours a day. Because death can come anytime. If it comes at a time when I am not engaged properly in bhakti, finished. Mind is bewildered at the time of death and I am thinking of something else. Then I have to take my next life according to the thought at the time of death. So we have to be very, very careful. That is the warning that is to be taken from the incident of Bharat Maharaj. Bharat Maharaj was very nicely executing devotional service, but he became slackened towards the end of his life. And he became attached to a deer and completely lost in the thought of the deer. He had to quit his body. And what happened? Next life, he had to take a deer's body. He had to enter a deer's body. So it's very, very, very risky. Prabhupada says mad people don't realize how risky this change of body is. So even for devotees, Prabhupada says, don't take a chance that if I can't perfect myself in this life, I will perfect myself in the next life. Don't take a chance like that. If you don't get a human body in the next life, or even if you get a human body, if you are distracted by some other allurement, then finished. Can go off the track of devotional service. So we have to be very, very alert in this regard. We have to be very alert. So that alertness is expressed in this statement. Brahma is also afraid of his death, and thus he performs devotional service to the Lord just to release himself from the clutches of illusory energy. If not for any other reason, just to get out of the clutches of Maya, we must engage in devotional service very, very seriously. So that seriousness is what is being pointed out here in this purport. Okay, I'll stop here. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai.